Hi, guys and girls, and welcome to another episode of Made Visible with me, Ankur. In today's episode, we're going to do something special. We're going to dedicate this episode to a very special filmmaker who's made a very special film called Disclosure Day. This film is an unsettling film, but in a very simple way. It does not hide behind technical jargon or complicated concepts. Even my 60-year-old father could watch it and understand the deeper idea of what is happening. The film moves fast. There's always something moving forward, sideways, or quietly shifting in the background at many places. There are no grand action sequences designed to blow your mind. Nothing feels added just to impress the audience. Whatever is there for a purpose. The original score did feel a little dated. Yeah, whatever's there is there for a purpose. The original score did feel a little dated, and the sequence of events could have used more variety in terms of landscapes and visual movement. But then again, we're here to watch an alien film, not a travel documentary. Typical of Steven Spielberg, though, the characters do not always have the depth you want from them. But the depth is not missing from the film. It is in the story, it is in the storytelling, it is in the way the phenomenon is treated. As a UFO researcher, this movie gave me more questions than it gave me answers. And that is where it is becoming interesting. In Steven Spielberg's exploration of the beings and the phenomena around them, he opens a kind of a Pandora's box. There are moments in the film that feel like they're hiding something in plain sight. There's one sequence where you need to widen your eyes, stop watching casually, and really start looking at individual frames. That's where the film becomes more than a film. I'm talking about the part where the data dump actually takes place in real time on news. And the line that I don't want to be treated like a religion honestly blew my mind, because that to me is not just a human statement. That is also what the ETs would most likely want. They do not want worship. They do not want blind belief from us. They do not want humanity turning them into gods. And that is where the disclosure question becomes more complicated. Maybe disclosure is not controlled only by humans, but maybe it's controlled from both sides, by humans and by them. That is what makes this film stay with you. It's not loud, it's not perfect, it does not spoon feed you. Its characters are imperfect, but it quietly opens a door. And once you see what might be on the other side, you cannot fully unsee it. Everything that Disclosure Day was trying to communicate to us from the eyes of a UFO researcher. Let's begin. The first thing that Disclosure Day showed us is that cover ups kill whistleblowers. It showed us the apparatus that is working. It showed us the whistleblowers who are running and have a conscience and believe that this truth belongs to everyone. And then there is action in between. Actions range from threats, direct and indirect, to action, unfortunately, where people lose their lives. There are many such cases that will come to light in the next few years. The way disclosure is headed right now, this is one part of it, the human side, that a lot will be told about and known about in the coming months. And the second thing that Disclosure Day has spoken about is that there exist magical alien artifacts, and they really do, they exist. There are these metamaterials that experiencers have taken forward and shown to their representatives and their military contacts. There are these off world technologies and zero point energy devices that have been reverse engineered. These are magical to us because our level of advancement is not yet that of the alien. And there is a saying that goes that a substantially sufficient level of technology that is far ahead of us will almost seem like magic. So it seems magical to us. That's why I use the word magical. But it is still a device, a scientific device that's being used by the aliens. The next thing that is true and that stuck out to me is invisible agencies that outrank precedents. Vortex is an invisible agency that works in the shadows. There are many such agencies inside of the US government and the US military architecture that are so called waved. Even Vortex actually uses the word. These waved organizations believe that the secrets and the research that's being done by them lasts much longer and is more important than any civilian, including the President of the United States. So they run these waived programs. Waived is just a waiver from being recorded, waiver from being in the limelight, waiver from being accounted for. That's why they're also called black budget programs. So these non-governmental and governmental agencies in the United States carry out this research on these kinds of technologies and beings, and they advance science, create these technologies for us, these new technologies. Maybe they're not able to re-engineer or reverse engineer most of it, but even the sum of it that they are have moved communications, healthcare, everything, like every part of our existence in the last 90 to 100 years have been made better through the reverse engineering that has gone on by these invisible agencies. The next thing that you can observe through Disclosure Day is that psi, psi is PSI is psionic. Psionic is psychological but demonstrable. That includes to interface with animals, to interface with other humans who are far away from where you are, communicate with them as if you were in person. Remote viewing, which allows you to view things that are secret, it allows you to see those things. And all of these are real. All of these have been demonstrated. All of these are being weaponized. The next thing is that contact is a spiritual experience. Linking to the previous point that Steven Spielberg has tried to communicate about, which is that psionic abilities are part of the phenomenon. The phenomenon being the aliens, the crafts, and extraterrestrials in general. Contact with an alien does not result in us realizing that God was an alien, but rather that religion is a lens through which We humans identify ourselves, value the things around us, and keep a society in order, keep our human society in order. But spirituality becomes this bridge between higher intelligence and us, or different intelligences and us. So, if anyone tells you aliens and things like that are about religion, that's really not the truth. Another truth that is there in Disclosure Day, and in fact, in a lot of his earlier works as well, is that it's a family affair. Broken families or intact families, nuclear families or joint, it's always generations of the same bloodline, the same DNA getting contacted by these beings. If you have a contact once, and if you have a contact more than once, that means that the aliens are interested in your bloodline. It usually spans generations, and this has also been reported by a lot of people that have come to know many times after their parents have passed away that even their fathers and even their grandmothers or someone in their family, in their bloodline, from their ancestors was being contacted, was being abducted, and had the same experiences that they were having. The other truth is that contact is old. In Disclosure Day, they're talking about since Roswell, right? Since 1945 or 1947. And that's good for the lens that is being portrayed in this movie. And that's still old. We're in 2026, and that's an 80-year-old subject now. So, yes, contact is very old. It has been happening. There has been no reduction in frequency. People will like you to believe that maybe the 80s, the 90s, you never really heard about aliens. You never really hear about aliens outside of America. Maybe you don't hear about it in India because it's not reported. Maybe it's not understood. Maybe it's just a thing that someone sees in the sky, tells his friend, tells his family member, and then they all go out and have dinner. So I did a small research myself, and I found that over the last 40, 50 years, what has been the number of reported sightings? As you can imagine, because this topic was openly discussed, explored through newspapers, and because they had robust space programs, the Americas and the Russias of the world, this conversation was already very much in the open, was understood by the entire nation. Even if they stood on the fence about it or were non believers, they at least knew about it. And in a stark contrast to them, the rest of the world really never got this same opportunity because the rest of the world really didn't have a space program. The rest of the world never really thought of the cosmos. Even in hieroglyphics of the pyramids, there are UFOs, and you can look it up. You can just Google it and you'll find it. So, if it goes as far back as that, and then you have modern scientists saying that even if we tried with modern human technology, we couldn't build the pyramid again. Brings you to today. So contact is old. Aliens are aliens are old. They're there from a very long time ago. There has been no reduction in UFO sightings. Every year we average 4 to 5,000 reported unexplained contact events that start from maybe even seeing a light in the sky. As the awareness increases, I believe that this number is only going to increase. The other truth, in one of the videos, you see this alien being on an operating table being forcefully contained. And there is some sort of an agreement that many countries in the early 80s and the 70s made, that they will end every living occupant they find and never really keep them around. So, visitors, being the aliens, have been treated like we are barbarians. Contact with us humans, contact with the common folk, may not really result in that. May result in us actually being scared of them for a very good amount of time. But in a military setting, they have been treated like barbarians by us. And the same set of people, the same larger group of the defense industry, that being the Lockheed Martins of the world, that being the Northrop Grummans of the world, Bell Labs, there's so many American and non-American defense companies from around the world who are bigger than most countries are in terms of their market capitalization. The reason why they're so big today is because they've been profiting from these crafts. When the government is not able to keep these things in secret simply because of rank and because of the public eye and accountability, they hand it over to these defense companies where there's no way that you and me can ask them or demand them for any information. In fact, their prime objective is high secrecy so that their technologies, when deployed, don't have any countermeasures. When their MO, when their USP or their prime selling point is the fact that they are able to keep secrets because of their weapons programs, makes them the ideal candidate to hand over these things to. And what do? They take these technologies, they break them and knock them off, and they try to put their wires through them to create the same effects that these technologies have reportedly had. And through this comes out understanding of various different types of subsystems that need to exist for this grand technology to exist. So maybe they never knew about anti-gravity, but having a craft in their hand helped them understand that it took these many different things for that effect to be generated. Time, this is reverse engineering basically, and they've reverse engineered the hell out of everything that they have laid their hands on. So there are 300 plus classified facilities in and around America, and these are taking out technologies and commercializing them. Fiber optics is considered to be one such technology. So many things in communications today are, even the manufacturing processes, even 3D printing, for example, have comes from or have been inspired by the reverse engineering of these crafts. So they're reverse engineered, then they're made into more weapons that can kill people and subjugate people and exert control. And that's it. This is the cycle, and they're just getting richer. So why would they want to bring these things out into the open? Why would they want a common scientist to who is not in their control to get hold of these things and maybe do a better job than them, but then open source it, and they don't have control over it anymore? So this has been most persistent wall that has disallowed and disqualified disclosure. The next truth is that time and consciousness both are hackable. Both have been hacked by aliens. These beings, whenever there is any contact experience, there's always missing time. There is this term called missing time. Missing time is nothing but you not being able to account for a few hours or days, sometimes in some cases of abductions, of the past. You're sitting here and you don't know how you got here. Maybe you feel like you slept for 2 days, but that's not possible. So where were you for 2 days? That's missing time. And that's possible because they're able to control time in a way that we don't even understand time. And the same with consciousness. That again ties back to the psionic thing. The next truth is that contactees and abductees that are of interest are protected by the aliens. How they do it is unknown, at least not to me, not to all the people I hear and research. But there are instances where certain abductees of interest go into these warring zones and come back unscathed simply because there is a higher force protecting them. And they are inside of that bubble because they're important to the alien purpose. The next truth is that aliens control disclosure as much as we do. The non governmental agencies and the black budget projects, the people controlling the topic on the human side, not letting the truth out, are not doing it alone because they can only do so much. It's also the aliens, it's also them who are just waiting on us unless they feel that the human race is mature enough to take the weight of this knowledge. If people in India are already like starting temples for Google and for Chat GPT and for even a politician sometimes, how long do you think it's going to take for people around the world to start religions, cults, and temples for these beings? We have to pass that milestone as a human race where not only are we more united, but each of us individualistically are more mature in our understanding of ourselves that will result in disclosure. This information is available in the undertones, but yes, there are a lot of people who won't even show up for work saying, what's the point of it all? So it could collapse not just economy, not just religion, a lot of things for a lot of people, especially a lot of people in power, and they don't want that. So, yes, when the aliens want it, though, that's another thing you will see in Disclosure Day. When the aliens want it, when the aliens decide that now is the time that disclosure must happen, then even humans can't stop it because we are not in control. Let's be honest, we are not in control. So, unless we have this sense of agency within us and we are not willing to lose it, this subject will remain stonewalled. Another thing that was very interesting, many people noticed it, many people didn't, is that the entire subtext of the film, the entire environment in which all of this was taking place, or all of this is unfolding, is at the brink of World War III. You'll always see big crowds in gas stations. There is a situation of war, though. I mean, it's all there in the news. It's made very apparent that there is this situation of inflection point from where actions of leaders of major superpowers of the world will not result in peace, but rather total and absolute destruction, or at least great human suffering. And that is the point where all of this takes place. All of this unfolds. Suddenly, there's a new distraction, a distraction that possibly could unite. Because you even see these images being seen by soldiers at war zones sitting on tanks and holding guns. They're going to ask that question: why am I fighting? Who am I fighting? And that could result in peace or at least understanding. Disclosure is only a milestone, is also another fact, because the movie ends where the alien appears and communicates something into the main protagonist's ears. But that is only the beginning. And from there is when the actual challenge begins. This is not the challenge. Telling everyone is so simple, but living with that reality is so much more harder. This is why disclosure is such a sensitive topic for so many people. As you go deeper into this, as you maybe start to talk to some of these people, the cryptic nature only increases as the rank increases. And that's only because you know it, you've seen it, you can call it. Now what? Something that really stuck out to me was this, that empathy is an evolutionary superpower. So there are so many accounts of people who have met these beings talking telepathically, having an innate understanding of who they are when they are being spoken to by these aliens. It could be just that unity and understanding are more powerful. And so many of these other people who have had these experiences around crafts and around beings always say that the answer is love. The power is love. Love is all powerful. And love and empathy and all of these themes are all very closely tied in together. Aliens speak through patterns. That could be sacred geometry. That object had a symbol on it, and that symbol laid itself on a field. Those are crop circles. They still happen, and they have not been debunked. They are perfect geometrically, down to the centimeter. They happen on fields. They happen in many places, I'm sure. But on fields of hay and rice, these crops get mushed down and form these massive shapes that you can see from the sky. Synchronicity of being at the right place at the right time, or being at a certain place at a certain time, a preordained set of actions happening to you. These are all synchronicities that occur so that you are led down a path that the being wants for a result that the being is looking at. Sometimes there are occasions, like I have many times a few days that go past where whenever I pick up the watch and I look at the time on my phone or on the wall clock or on my computer screen, it's always 1111 or 2222 or 3333. So these commonalities, these number sequences, you'd be driving down the road and suddenly a car would swerve in your way and it would be 33. That just happened to me yesterday. So these synchronicities is a way for the aliens and the beings to, especially if you're in that zone of their bubble of contact where you are part of their intelligence and you are being used as a passenger, so to say, without really knowing. This is the way they communicate to you. This is the way they're telling you that, hey, listen, don't get too worried about what you're going through. Just refocus. So, yes, higher intelligences are known to speak through patterns. And there's a lot of it that's shown in the film. In fact, even the truck, the fire truck in the end, in which after controlling the artifact, after going through her own experience, both of these protagonists sit in the back of that fire truck, and the fire truck has a 11 in it in front of it. It just goes with the territory. If you are in the bubble, you see all of it all the time. Another thing that Steven Spielberg's work in general has spoken of in a very indirect way, but proven that broken families many times awaken souls. And souls are a very important human asset that the aliens want to interact with. We saw that episode where Lazar was on about how humans are just containers for souls, maybe. And the souls are the real things that the aliens are interested in. And then broken families generally tend to, create more individualistic adults. And his movie, even this movie, explores the fact that both of these protagonists came from broken families and difficult circumstances. Maybe that's what allows the soul to shine. Maybe that's why they are, or maybe they're broken because of the alien contact over generations. You really, but this is one of the themes that is there in a lot of Steven Spielberg's works and also in Disclosure Day. And finally, another point before the last one though is that humans are in the center. We're very narcissistic as a race, that we think that we are the center of the world. Like, we all make fun of Americans that they are in another continent or another planet of their own, right? But then the human race, are on a planet of our own. Yet we believe that we are the owners of the universe, that there is nothing beyond me and you and each one of us. So the movie really brings that out, that hey, there are more things, there are more people who are not people, there are more consciousnesses that are not you. And finally, and this is pretty recent for me, I just did a 1+1, and I realized that if you see a light in the sky, it's probably something much bigger. That's what happens even when she holds up that object, the alien thingy. That's what happens when earlier in the movie, the character Boyd also holds it for a second and passes out, but then he goes invisible for the time that he's holding it. Right? So, this technology of cloaking exists. If Steven Spielberg has represented in his film, I believe that he is closest to this subject than all of us. He's much closer than most of the other whistleblowers, even, because he's been doing this, researching this, and meeting the people at the top for very many years, decades. So, if there is a light in the sky, if you see an orb, maybe some sort of funny lights, three lights playfully flying around in the sky, they could just be crafts. They could just be hiding something much bigger. And that light bit is the one that's the cloaking device. So, yeah, guys, these are the things that I observed from. It's not from ChatGPT, it's just from my experience of this subject that I could see Steven Spielberg talking about. That's been my time, guys. Take care. Bye bye.